Hey guys, welcome to the Two Dogs Podcast. I'm Dr. Ingky.
I'm Dr. Ali here, and welcome to the Two Dogs Podcast, whereby two medical doctors, we talk about all sorts of stuff. However, these last 2 months, we're going to move something very interesting. Last month, we were talking about mental health awareness, and for November, we're going to talk about
Sexual health. Yeah,
Sexual
so
health
let's talk about
awareness.
sexual health. So sexual health has always been a very interesting topic. However, in a lot of societies, it's a very taboo topic.
Correct. It's hush.
People want to know.
But nobody want to talk about it.
Yes,
Or at least they say, hey, dirty.
Yes,
Don't talk about it.
exactly.
So if you've got kids right now, don't need to close the ears because this is actually educational.
And I think this is actually really important for them as well.
Very.
Correct.
And we're going to bring in today's topic, which is about
Preventing sexual violence.
sexual violence.
All right, sexual violence. Now, according to the CDC, all right, almost 50% of all women, all right, have had some sort of physical abuse, especially when it comes to sexuality or sexual physical abuse. So imagine this, almost 50%.
Wow.
And majority of the 50% occur at a very young age, below 25.
Below 25.
And a majority of these people are actually minors when it happened, means below 18. That means that what happens is majority of the women that somehow experience sexual violence are actually very young.
Correct.
So because of that, you should actually you shouldn't cover your kids' ears when it comes to these kind of topics. You should actually educate them.
Correct. In fact, the earlier you educate them, the more knowledgeable they are,
The more empowered they are.
the more empowered they are to say no.
Yeah. Now, but the thing is, whenever we talk about sexual violence, right, we always think of women.
Yeah, there's men also.
Yes. Do you know that 1 in 3 men also experience sexual abuse and sexual violence?
1 in 3.
1 in 3 men.
1 in 3.
And a lot of statisticians feel that this is actually
Underreported.
underreported.
Correct. Because it's embarrassing for a guy to tell someone else, I was,
Yes.
something happened to me
Yes,
sexually.
correct. And a lot of times, guys just brush it off as something normal. All right? Example. If a guy were to randomly go up to a girl and randomly hug a female,
Yep.
right, out of no reason,
Yep.
the opposite sex,
Yep.
that can be deemed as sexual violence.
Correct.
All right?
Assault.
Especially,
Sexual
yeah,
assault.
can be deemed as sexual assault. But when it comes the other way, when a girl randomly goes and hug a random guy, all right?
He's desirable.
Yes, he's desirable. All right, then it's brushed off as, hey, you know what? We're just flirting.
Correct.
So a lot of guys actually undergo a lot of sexual violence, and they don't. Sometimes some guys don't even realize that
It was something that happened that they did not consent to it.
That is correct. There was actually a very famous actor, male actor. All right, super buff, super hunky actor, Terry Crews.
Terry Crews. That guy's like
Yes.
got 12 packs on his body.
He was a previous NFL player.
Yes.
All right.
Became an actor.
He was a bouncer first, then became an actor.
Yeah.
And
Now he's a host.
Yes, and the guy has muscles
Yes.
everywhere. But what he did was, I think a couple of years ago, he opened up how he was sexually abused. Sexually abused.
As a child.
No,
As an adult.
as an adult by the Hollywood elites,
Wow.
by producers,
Wow.
by all these casting agents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then initially he just kept it to himself because for him he felt that
It's an
in
embarrassment.
order for me to get a job, I have to undergo this particular violence, right? Or this particular abuse.
Correct.
And no one would believe me, especially this big hulking guy, 6 foot, 6 feet guy with muscles and everything. No one would believe me if I would tell people that I was sexually abused.
Correct.
Okay, so today's topic is
Preventing sexual abuse.
All right. So what is the number one thing that most people should understand? How to prevent sexual abuse?
I think number one is to actually know that sexual abuse occurs when something happens to you without your consent.
Correct.
Without your consent.
Correct.
And consent basically just means you allow.
Yes, correct.
You allow. All right. I think that's number one. Number two, that is very important is when even if you allow, but whether are you of the correct age?
That's right. So let's say minors.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes minors do allow. However, so minors like I think depending on country, minors can be between 16 to 18, right?
Correct.
But just because a minor consented or a minor kept quiet does not mean that they consented. Just means that they did not know.
Correct. They
Right.
did not know that what was their right to say
Yes.
no to you.
Correct. Correct.
Now, what is the age of sexual criminal?
Criminal.
Or being minor in this country?
In this country, I think Malaysia is 18. I think.
No,
No.
Try again.
16?
No, try again.
I don't know. I have no
15.
idea. 15?
15.
Whoa, that's young actually.
15. That's young. That's young. How we found out? True story. Friend's sister had consensual relationship, and then when found out, the whole family went berserk. Then wait, what happened? Yeah. So we thought.
Okay. You thought it's below 18 lah?
We thought was because she was above 16.
Okay.
She was just about to touch 16. So later we found out, right, it's actually 15.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. 15. And there are some countries, right? I think, if not mistaken, in France or in Mexico, whereby the age of consent is actually 12 or 13 years old.
Correct.
Yeah, it's actually really young.
Which also means, right, if you had consensual relationships, that is still considered a criminality.
Yeah.
And you can be charged as statutory rape.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. That's correct.
The only tricky thing is some cultures allow,
Yes,
young
some cultures
marriage,
allow.
but that was, of course, with the parents' consent.
Yes, correct.
Which I think today's society is trying to remove that kind of practice already. Okay, so know your rights. In every country, there is a certain legal age for consensual relationships. And after that, of course, then you are deemed as a functional adult, even though you're still in your teenage years. But when is it that you must say no?
Yep. Now, next up is, I would say, to educate and empower your kids. Now, the reason why I mention kids is because even though sexual violence happens to children and adults as well, but when you start to educate and empower children, it is then nailed into their psyche that this is wrong.
Yep.
So as adults, they can then better defend themselves and better say no, and better get out of very sticky situations. But if you do not educate them when they're young, what happens is when they grow up, they don't know that certain things are wrong. Then when things happen to them, they do not know how to react. They do not know how to defend themselves. Example, if let's say someone of a certain position or certain power, maybe your boss, sexually harass you, all right? A lot of people just keep quiet because they do not know what's the right course of action. So if you have taught them the right course of action, right, when they're much younger, at least they'll be more vocal about it. It means they can speak up, they can speak to HR, they can speak to people around them and say, hey, this thing is happening to me and it's not right. And then from there, you'll be able to reach out for help and ask people, what is the next course of action? Do I report to authorities? Do I keep quiet, or do I confront this person directly? So I would say to empower and educate your kids as young as possible. There is no shame in talking to them about the birds and the bees at a very young age.
Correct.
A lot of people feel like very, very shy, especially when as example, when my 5-year-old come and ask me, why is it that the girl's private part is different from his private part? He's a boy.
Yep.
So a lot of times, a lot of parents just shy away. Say, I don't talk about that, or
we'll teach you later next time.
I teach you later next time. No, it's actually very open. Just let them know the difference. The reason why is because these are used as reproductive organs in the future. Hence, it's different.
Correct.
Right? Once you educate them, when they know, then they realize, hey, okay, all right, it is different. And then we teach them, hey, if anyone tries to touch you down there, which is not your parents, please let us know.
Yes.
It doesn't matter, it can be your uncle, auntie, or anyone, right? As long as it's neither of your parents touching you, you need to let us know.
Correct.
All right.
And even now, to the point of taking photographs.
Oh yes.
Taking photographs. So there are sexual assault does not even have to be physical. It can even be emotional.
Yep.
Like if someone takes a photo of you in a sexual in a compromised position, not that you're in an act, but even in your, let's say, undressed position, or if you're partially dressed and you're not comfortable, that is as good as a sexual assault.
Yep.
That's as good as being taken your privacy away. We have to educate children. It's not just about someone touching you. Even if someone photographs you, if someone asks for your photograph, these are all part of sexual assault that we have to teach them how to prevent. And again, if we don't educate them that these are your areas whereby only you have the pure access to it and you cannot allow someone else without the consent, they won't know what to do. They won't know what to do. And like what you said, what Dr. Ingky said just now, people who go into workplaces whereby these are probably of yesteryears were probably more common.
Yep.
More common. However, today does not mean it does not happen.
Correct.
And in fact, today it might be worse, whereby it's not just gender specific.
Mm.
And this is where the male can also get assaulted.
Correct.
All right, males can also be in a compromised position whereby a superior of either gender might put you in a position whereby if you want to get your promotion, you want to get your appraisal, you need to do favors.
Yes.
So always know what draws the line. However, I think in terms of laws to help these people is still in.
Yeah, it's still very murky.
Still very murky.
Okay,
Yeah.
so sexual violence. Sexual violence itself is a criminal. It's criminal. All right. When you sexually assault or sexual abuse, it's criminal. However, sexual harassment isn't right. So you cannot report to the police that someone has sexually harassed you or has made lewd comments against you. The police will just say, I'm sorry, but the law does not allow them to actually take any action. Right. So hence, in a lot of places like in workplaces, in schools, and in communities, I think what we should have is we should have a zero sexual harassment policy.
Correct.
It means that whenever someone sexually harasses you or you're sexually harassed, as long as there is a committee of people or group of people that have deemed, hey, yes, this person has really sexually harassed this other person, right? It should not be tolerated. It should not be like, oh, okay, let's give them one more chance. No chance, right? Straight away, if it's the workplace, terminated. If it's a community, ostracize them, kick them out, right? Just remove them from the community or from the committee, because people, all right, people, especially people who sexually harass or sexually abuse other people, right? Most of the time they tend to
like small challenges.
Yeah, they tend to repeat it again.
Yeah, they repeat it.
Yeah, they tend to repeat it again.
Today is this. Tomorrow I'll try a bit more.
Yeah,
The
they
day
will
after,
escalate it.
It will escalate to a different level. All right. But since today we're talking more on sexual crimes. All right. So let's move back. Most of the time, there's also another statistics, right, that says that almost 50% of the time it occurs with people that you already know.
Yes, of course.
With people you know, not
course.
not a randomized event.
Yes, correct.
Not a randomized event, and it can be as close as your own relatives,
Yes,
your
that's
own
right.
family members, someone whom you have put trust in.
Yes.
Sometimes even your own girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse.
Yeah, can be your own parents actually,
Parents also.
sometimes.
Okay, because as long as it was forced upon you, it's as good.
That is correct. That is correct. So what happens is a lot of times around people you know, especially you know very well, you let your guard down.
Yes.
Yeah. Once you let your guard down, and then of course it's not all of a sudden. They will usually groom the other person, right? So they usually will groom them, and usually they would make small advances whereby you feel like, hey, these are actually normal.
These are normal.
Yeah, these are normal. And then once the sexual abuse or the sexual violence happens, a lot of times you don't even know that has happened until the act is done.
Correct. Correct.
No.
Or actually, if you find that you're not comfortable and one day you actually open up, then someone will actually tell you, this is actually not normal.
Yes, correct.
This actually should not have happened.
Correct.
Should not have happened. So just touching on sexual grooming. What is sexual grooming?
So sexual grooming is when someone has the intention to sexually abuse or sexually
Have sexual advances with
have
you.
sexual advances with you, and then at the same time put small advances, all right?
Small
advances over a long period of time, or can be a short period of time, over a period of time. Then after for you to accept their sexual advances, all right? You might reject them during the first time, but after certain persistence and after certain,
It became your normalized language.
Yes, it becomes a normalized language, and then you accept it.
So even if it's not right, you would feel it is not
It's
wrong.
not. Yeah, it's not wrong.
Not
It's
wrong.
normal.
Yeah, right. So sexual grooming, I think last time we spoke about some child grooming. So sexual grooming still occurs. It's the same thing.
Yep.
It can occur at any age.
Can at any age.
In fact, I think it probably occurs more in adult age.
Yeah, it can occur in adult age as well. You're correct.
Right. So what should people do? How should they say no, or how should they prevent themselves from sexual crimes?
I think one of the very important thing is you should always talk to other people. All right, talk to other people, because for you it might be a norm. All right, but as you talk to other people, you realize, hey, maybe whatever's happening to me is not normal. And once you open up, then the other parties can actually tell, hey, you know what is happening in your workplace or your personal life is not actually normal, and you should actually do something about it. So I think opening up about sexuality is very important.
Correct.
Because when you open up about sexuality, then you realize what is a sexual norm.
Correct. I think that's absolutely right. A lot of times, because it becomes a very private part of your life, so taboo or private, right? You don't even want to talk to your best friend about it. I think everyone should have this kind of friend whereby these topics are no longer taboo.
Yes, that's right.
Because some people might say, oh, you're bragging or whatever your life is, but again, all said and done, it's about your sexual safety.
Yes.
When you talk about it, it gives another third person's perspective, and they will say, maybe this doesn't sound very right.
Correct.
Just doesn't sound very right. Are you sure you're on the right path? And if someone gives you that doubt, you probably want to analyze a little bit more rather than brush it off and say, oh no, it's probably just love, or it's just the way that we express ourselves. Or this is how the career path. Maybe that's what happened to Terry Crews.
Maybe.
Yeah. But I think what society has evolved in is that sexual crime is no longer accepted, and more people are speaking out about it.
Speaking out on it.
When they did the hashtag Me Too
thing, it was actually very good. Yes.
Very good. It brought out so much of sexual violence that occurred in the media industry.
Yeah.
And it really ostracized those who were involved in it.
Yes,
a lot of directors were there.
A lot of directors were there. The producers were brought down. Even the most famous one, Harvey Weinstein. I think he's in jail now.
I think he died already.
He died already. Really? I have no idea. I thought he actually went to jail, and for years he actually sexually abused all his actresses.
Correct.
And then I think it was like kind of mandatory, whereby you have to meet him. You have to meet him in a hotel room if you want to get a part or major role in one of his films.
Yeah,
right.
And even actors have been shut off, like Kevin Spacey.
Yes, correct.
Major one. So they pretty much, the world now just pretty much chops it off.
Yes,
it's not allowed. It's not tolerated.
It's no longer tolerated now.
Because I think your skill as in any career should not have to be predetermined with an open bribe.
That's correct.
Of your body. That's wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
That's wrong. All right. So we were talking about realizing it. Vocalizing it. All right. Always say no if you're not comfortable.
Correct.
Because let's say if one day in a court of law something happens, sexual violence has occurred onto you, the first thing the police and the court is going to ask, did you say no?
Yeah.
Because silence does not mean
consent. Yeah. Silence doesn't mean consent.
But it can be played by the other side.
Correct.
All right, so you have to vocalize and say no as many times as possible, so that you'll always be on the right side of the law.
Yes, that's right. And then a lot of people feel that if I were to say no before the sexual intercourse or sexual violence happens, it's okay. But during, you can also say no.
Yes.
A lot of people don't actually know that if even during sexual intercourse itself, if you feel like, hey, I don't think it's right, you can stop and say no. If you continue any further, this is sexual violence.
Yep. And even after the first one, or after whatever time, let's say even if you've done it like 4 or 5 times and you decided I want to say no, it's still a no. Because anything after the no and it's still forced upon you or coaxed into you, it's considered as sexual violence.
Yes, that's right.
So no is a very important word. As much as people say we should always say yes to be positive, right? This is one thing whereby the no is more positive.
No, yes.
Because your safety, your child's safety, your future really depends on it. All right. So I hope you guys found this segment liberating.
Yes.
We start off with something simple, although there's a lot of violence words involved, but it's actually more of a preventive.
It's more safety. Safety for you, your loved ones.
Correct. And in the coming weeks, we're going to get a couple of experts
of experts to come in to talk
about different aspects of sexual health.
Yes, that's right.
From STD prevention
to even
if you already got STD, what to do?
If you have STD, what to do, and even to the myth of female orgasm.
Does it really is it there or not? So we'll see. And we'll have some really interesting topics coming up in the coming weeks. Until then, we hope to see you again next week. Please like, share, and also comment if there's any additional comments that you want to add in regarding sexual violence or any other sexual health topic or sexual health awareness topic that you like to see. Right? Until then, we'll see you guys again next week on the Two Dogs. I'm Dr. Ellie here.
And I'm Dr. Ingky. Have a good weekend.